right?
And that is what nature is uniquely good at, efficiency and sustainability.
I mean, I say that again for the people in the back, because I feel like people miss that.
Yes, nature is uniquely qualified in efficiency and sustainability. And our problems that we are dealing with today are because of our efforts to do things that are unnatural.
Hi there. Welcome to the Empowered and Embodied Show. I'm Kim Romain.
And I'm Louise Neil. We're two transformational coaches who are also fellow travelers on the path of growth and self-discovery. And we're inviting you along for the ride.
That's right. We're right here in the trenches with you, navigating the ups and downs of life. And each week we'll be sharing our own experiences, bringing you conversations with amazing guests, and exploring insights and strategies that have helped us find more clarity, confidence, and ease in our lives.
And trust us, we do not have it all figured out. We're learning and growing right alongside you.
So if you're ready to rise above the chaos, doubt, and confusion that sometimes life throws our way,
and step into a more empowered and embodied version of yourself,
then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Empowered and Embodied Show. I am one of your co-hosts, as always, Kim Romain, joined by my lovely co-host.
Ooh, lovely today. Kim always has these great adjectives. That's me. I'm Louise, and we are going to have a phenomenal conversation with the amazing
Abriana Johnson, that is me.
Abriana, we are so glad that you're here, and we're so excited about this conversation. I'm going to actually let the world know a little bit about you so that they have some context of where this conversation might go and what we might be exploring today. So Abriana builds brands that behave as boldly as they look. Like, I love that we start with bold right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then mentioning one of my favorite animals coming up here through Black Unicorn Creative, the name of her business. She partners with mission-driven organizations to translate big vision into everyday actions that energize teams and earn market trust. Her roots in animal science and health sciences inform a distinctive approach, blending systems thinking with relational lessons learned in the saddle. That blend also fuels Cowgirl Cameron, an edutainment franchise that cultivates social emotional growth through equine-inspired storytelling, and Black in the Saddle, a podcast and media hub celebrating the contributions of Black horse people. Whether she's advising a C-suite, designing a workshop, or speaking on stage, Abriana champions diversity, creative capacity, and brand culture alignment as the catalysts of sustainable growth. Juicy, delicious, yummy stuff.
Thank you.
So we don't always go into the backgrounds here, but you and I talked a little bit before we jumped on. Tell me more about your background with horses, your background within the equine world.
Yeah. So my background is in veterinary medicine. From the time I was 7 years old, I have an assignment that says I want to travel the world and help animals like a vet in a Jeep and travel the world around all the way around with a little picture. And I used that as my guiding star for years until I graduated undergrad with a degree in animal science and said, she used a simile. She said, like a vet. It doesn't mean I have to be one. And so that completely changed my perspective. And now I get to help animals in creative and complex and fascinating ways. So that's how I got connected with animals in general. Horses specifically. I had a family member who had horses, and we had just enough land in the front of our house to put up a fence. And you thought I begged for a dog? Oh my goodness. I begged for a horse so bad. And when he put them there, it was like, are you going to make sure they have water and hay? I'm like, yes, I will. And that was all she wrote. So that was my focus in school. Bought a horse while I was in college, and it's history.
And how are you using that relationship with horses in your work? Because I find it fascinating what you're doing.
Yeah, I tell people horses are the through line to everything I do. So I consider my business like a three-legged stool, like you shared in the bio. I have the services that I provide, the leadership development and brand and culture services that uses a concept called biomimicry. And that is taking patterns that occur in nature and applying them to human problems. And one of those is how we lead, how we create, how we gather, how we organize, and how we move forward to a common goal. And so looking at horses and seeing how they do that within a herd, people like to look at the examples of like Top Dog and Lone Wolf as examples of like, yes, those people are getting it. It's always a predator. The predator survived in the story, right? But so did the prey. So I'm looking at horses to see how they operate as a collective and taking those lessons, and sometimes not just horses, but horses specifically, taking those lessons back to my clients to help inform how they operate and how they build. And then through Black in the Saddle, that's just the community portion. That is really bringing people together who not only see horses as their partner in their relationship, but have a shared identity that has its own unique challenges in how we engage with horses, preserve land, and build legacies and pathways for agricultural careers for the future. Mm-hmm. And the future is Cowgirl Cameron, of course. That's for the babies. That's for the kiddos. That is a children's book series that I am wanting to build into so much more. There's a little miniature horse in the books named Encore, and he is a real life little miniature horse. And I trained him to get in the van, and we burn the road up. We go to libraries, schools, community centers, events, just teaching kids about horses and allowing them to have a really good, positive first experience with a horse who is about the size of a Great Dane. So it's a little bit more digestible for them. So that is the through line. The horses are the through line for a lot of the work that I do. All of it, really.
I think it's so beautiful when we have something in our lives that just like comes from inside, and we find a way to share that in all kinds of spaces, right? Like your legs of your stool is like just like something that was so impactful and so important to you. You've been able to birth it into the world, but in different ways.
Yeah. I have always been someone who has more than one thing happening at a time. And I have oftentimes rejected the notion of, focus on one thing, niche down, and just do. I just very systemically, if I need to dissociate from one thing, I associate to one of the other two. So it's fine. We work it out and it's great.
So what I'm hearing is you follow your alignment.
Oh, yes, that is like one of my favorite words, alignment.
Why is that one of your favorite words?
Because it is not a pursuit of perfection. I feel like maybe about 5 years ago, there was a lot of this language around balance and, work-life balance. And I don't believe that balance even really exists, right? There's a moment in time where things align. And that is the feeling that we are seeking. And so alignment to me just still offers some fluidity, and knowing that it might be brief, but when it's there,
Yeah, you do. And it's so fun. So when I And when I first started my business, it was all surrounding this idea that balance is bullshit, because it is absolute bullshit. Like the way that we have whitewashed, quite literally, this concept of balance, to think that everything will be, we're talking about alignment. We're talking about that moment when we can breathe, when our trachea and I've been watching way too much House MD again. But like this stuff, you can probably tell me more. This is all in alignment and you can literally breathe better. Right? That's not balance. That's not. So, but how do you find alignment? How do you know when to move and shift and pivot and slide over to something else?
Yeah, I really think it's being aware of my own energy. So I will kind of get into some of the things that I end up talking about with my clients, but horses have a level of awareness or attention that we describe as at 3 levels: at self, at other, and at the environment. And so I find that when I get anxious, or if I have been stewing or spinning on something for even 2 hours, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. My awareness needs to shift somewhere else. I either need to focus on a different person, focus on a different project, or focus on what I am seeing kind of big picture, so that I can move through this anxious, nervous energy. I was sharing right before we got on that I've had so much travel this month, and I was trying to get a trip booked for this weekend, and all of my assumptions about how easy it was going to be were wrong. I said, okay, you know what? This is a sign. What was I really trying to get out of this trip? What was I expecting? What is different now? Let me just put that on the back burner and try again some other time. I was too anxious about making it happen, and there were too many barriers. I do believe that when we are going in the direction we're supposed to go, there is a level of ease that is the indication that we are headed the right way. I'm like, okay, I'm too stressed about something that I thought I was really excited to do. It's not supposed to be this hard.
You are so talking my love language.
Well, and we get focused so much on the outcome, right? Like we get focused so much on like that's the thing, and we forget about the journey from where we are to that thing. And that's that disconnection, I think, that often happens, is that we actually are so focused on what this outcome is, we stop paying attention to all of the signals our body is telling us, the signals other people are telling us, what the environment is telling us. We ignore that because we're super focused on what we should be going towards.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
How do horses help people see that?
I love this. I'll illustrate this by an example that just happened while I was in Brazil. One of the participants was saying that she needed to focus more. She had too many tabs open. The feedback that she received was that she was too scatterbrained and needed to focus to get to the end of particular projects. I said, okay, cool. What if we took the story that you're telling yourself about your ability to focus? Because now she's like, oh, I can never do anything right. I'm never completing anything. She starts coming up with these stories about the feedback that she received. I said, okay, what if this is clearly something that has come up for you a lot? I'm sure you have examples of your past, even growing up with it. What if that was leveraged as a superpower? Because if you look at the opposite, there's some people who are so focused on what they're doing that they miss really critical things that could prevent some of the challenges that they're experiencing. So I asked her, when you go out with this horse, I want you to think of your ability to vacillate your attention as a superpower. Because if the horse cannot trust that you know yourself, you can see them for their full potential as your partner, and that you know what's going on around here, they are not going to follow you. And so she went out, and I could tell immediately she focused on the direction she wanted to go. She focused so hard that she completely missed the fact that there was another horse in the arena with us, another group, and they almost collided. And so I asked her, "What were you thinking about?" She said, "I was thinking so hard. I didn't want him to leave me. I was just afraid that the horse would leave me or not want to follow me. And I was just pleading with him to come with me." And I said, "Okay." And now you can see how your focus on something that was not even true, there wasn't even any resistance, prevented you from seeing the bigger picture where a collision was about to occur. And she was just like, wow, like I overcorrected, right? Overcorrected on that focus, overcorrected on trying to force a connection when there wasn't a lack of one. And so, we talk about that more, but that's one of the examples of how horses very subtly require you to show up fully, to be able to place your attention on multiple things. It's a skill that we end up needing because the world is changing too fast to focus on one thing and think that is going to get you from point A to point B with no hiccups.
Yeah, I feel like what you're talking about is part of a systemic problem, right? How we have been trained to be there's only one way, only one linear way to think. There's only one right answer. There's only one only one right way to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about using emergent strategies, looking into nature, into biomimicry, nature is never like that. Like, show me where in nature is that rigid and that homogenous.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it doesn't exist because it's not efficient or sustainable.
Right?
And that is what nature is uniquely good at, efficiency and sustainability.
So, I mean, say that again for the people in the back, because I feel like people miss that.
Yes, nature is uniquely qualified in efficiency and sustainability. And our problems that we are dealing with today are because of our efforts to do things that are unnatural.
To control nature. I mean, right? It's like, how much can human beings screw up by trying to continue to control nature? And nature's like, I guess again. That's not how this works.
Right. Because the sheer ability to be adaptable is part of the natural world. And so when we try to control it and funnel outcomes into this vision that we have never seen, we set ourselves up for disappointment and chaos.
Okay. Chaos, huh? Wonder what chaos feels. Oh, that's what we're living in.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because there's a lot of noise that's going on right now. A lot of things that can pull our attention away from what's important. So how is that different than this focus? Or it seems to me like if we're not paying attention, we get swallowed up in all of these things that are happening. So
for sure.
How is that different?
Yeah. I think that there is, when you become very familiar with your own capacity, you can understand more of what your limits are, right? And so I know that if I spend a certain amount of time doom scrolling, I am going to get anxious about the state of the world. But I also know that I have gone into rural parts of this country expecting that same polarity and volatility and do not experience it. And I had to think like, wait a minute, there's a difference between what is curated for us and what our real life experiences are. And so I have to kind of separate that level of awareness. So I know, and I'm getting more familiar with my capacity and what I can put my attention on and how long I can do that. Some people don't have the capacity to consume the news or, focus on, or I won't even say focus, but place their attention on a lot of things at once. But what they end up learning is what are the priorities for them and how long can they be in those areas. I feel like you make a good point. I mean, it is a skill that we have to develop, and I just help people develop it.
When I'm listening to you, I'm feeling something.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm feeling is that breath. What I'm feeling is that place where we connect with ourselves, we connect with our bodies.
Yeah.
And that's where that information comes from, right? We know we're at capacity because we feel the constriction, we feel the shallower breathing, we feel the elevated heart rate, we feel foggy headed, all these things that come along with stress as one side effect. So I know from the much fewer number of hours I've spent with horses, but those hours that I have spent with horses, there is a level of regulation. And I think this is what you were talking about when you're talking about how overly focused she then became, how she overcorrected. If you become in tune with the horse, it is like the deepest sense of regulation, of nervous system regulation, it feels like.
Yes.
I can just imagine how that can help leaders understand what their capacity for certain things are. Because what a great gift to be able to say, this is what it actually feels like in your body to be regulated, because most people don't know what that feels like.
You are so exactly right. You are so right. One of the exercises that I go through with people, I had another guy this week, and I just thought of him because he was bouncing on the balls of his feet. And I was like, hey, you're going to have to take a deep breath. I can't hand this horse over to you with you going like this. Y'all are going to be trotting around this arena, and I'm not going to be trotting. Okay. But even just working through grounding people, one of the things that we do, because that energy is when your attention is only focused on yourself. You're concerned about your safety. You're concerned about what someone's thinking of you. You're concerned about your performance. You are just concerned about how you show up. One of the things I offer my clients is to say, okay, tell me what you see. Look at this horse. What can you appreciate about it? And appreciation moves energy, right? Because you are so positive and you are thinking about something that is outside of yourself. And so they'll say, okay, the horse is brown, like a Hershey's chocolate bar. The horse is breathing. I can see its belly going in and out. I say, okay, try to match your breathing with the horse's breathing. The horse saw something over yonder, as we say in the South. Okay, go look to see what they see. Acknowledge that the information that they're giving you is important. And that takes people outside of themselves to lower their energy and ground them so that they can actually have a conversation that is not through fear and through, oh, I'm outside of my comfort zone. I'm outside of my comfort zone. I'm like, okay, you think that's the only zone that's out there. And now we're moving into the next one. We're moving into the zone of learning. We're moving into the zone of embodying. The comfort zone is not the only box out there that you have stepped out of. So that is one of the beautiful things that interacting with horses offers. And I also tell my clients, they can hear your heartbeat from 6 feet away. And so if you show up and your heart's like, boo, 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 but you are like, I'm brave. This is fine. They're like, you're weird, because why would you move with this suaveness that your heart is not experiencing? That does not seem safe. That incongruence is predatory.
It doesn't feel safe.
And that's
No.
all the horses want. They want to know that they are going to be safe with you, and you are going to be safe with them. That is it. And that's why I can work with any horse in the world. I've been traveling around the world doing this work, and all the horses want the same thing. They just want to be safe.
Translate that to brands and marketing
Mhm.
for both organizations, but also for individuals, because I think you can
Yeah.
speak to that as well.
Yeah. I say this. I like how you said balance is bullshit earlier. I like to say I work with people who give a damn about being different. And I say that because oftentimes we are looking for people to, they say, I want to build something that's differentiated. I want to stand out in the market. I want to, not be a commodity. I want to be unique, make it pop, things like that. But we're expecting people who have been bullied their entire life for being different to build something different. And that just doesn't make sense. And so when I think about giving a damn about being different, it's because I understand the power in the difference. I understand that people look for patterns, and that thing that is just outside of that pattern, it can be scary. It can be intriguing. It can draw attention. And in order to build that way, you have to have a group of people who are comfortable being any of those things, standing out in a way that makes someone feel something. And you cannot control what they feel. You can try to optimize for it, but you can't control it. And so I work with leaders to help them get to that point, because it's not just a marketing campaign. I've done those. Every time there is either a challenge or a something that did not go like they thought it would, I can draw a little line all the way back to leadership and business decisions that simply didn't align with the outcomes that they wanted. So I started off doing brand and web design and had a great time until I realized I had to do a lot of heavy lifting on the front end to get people to understand why certain decisions were being made and how the way that they build their business and their brand will influence the outcomes that they are asking for. Because if you want to, like, I worked with a lot of agricultural businesses. When you think agriculture, what color do you think of?
Green.
Green. And so if you say, I want to be the next tractor company that, is just flooding the market and creating computer AI driven, you might not want to use green to stand out, especially if you're going to do things that are so far away from farmers' capacities or understandings, like AI. You have to show up differently. Green might not be the primary color that you want to go with, because just visually you are falling into a pattern. So that's a very slight and surface level example, but that's one of the things that people don't really think about when they're designing a business for particular outcomes.
Yeah, that's true for leaders too, right? Like, so I see it all the time, right? Where it's like, no, I do want to stand out. I want to be noticed. I want to be different, right? And we get trapped as leaders in this very formative way of leading because that's what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know inside us, I've experienced this as an entrepreneur too. And as a leader in my corporate life, it's like, I know inside me, it's like, I want to be different. And yet we're just pushed into a mold. We're pushed into a factory, right? So that we come out a certain way on the other side. And again, fight it. And we know that there's something not right, right?
Mhm.
Kim, you talked about like alignment, and there's like this feeling of crunchiness, like the whole time we're doing it. And yet, right, the systems that are there are just like we're just like making cars on an assembly line. There's no difference,
Yeah.
It's because that's what humans are. I mean, that's what we've created ourselves to be
right?
Yeah.
in so many ways, is just an assembly line of people. And it's conversations like this, and it's individuals like you, Abriana, who are doing the work to ensure that different still exists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When you value different perspectives, different lived experiences, I always let my clients know I am not trying to break down your org chart. Okay. I'm not trying to blow it up and put it in the washing machine. Not yet.
Oh, I'll do that.
Not yet. And maybe not in the beginning. I don't want to scare you away. But I think that the opportunity that leaders have is to show up in that space, but to tell a story about their leadership that actually gives their leadership the flavor of their life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell my clients, I think of a brand as like an operating system. You have the inputs, the processes, the outputs, the bugs or the blind spots, and the opportunities. And when you are telling the story of how you show up, there are certain things in your life that are those inputs. And I can say, hey, I was a cheerleader in high school, and I have always been called to lead, but when I led, I had to be loud. I had to bring joy. I had to influence the mood of a crowd because our sports teams sucked. Okay. So when I show up, like, this is how I lead. I lead with a vigor and energy, but I understand that that might not be what is best for particular team members to receive. So let me know how you best receive direction, how you best receive information, support, so that I can tailor my leadership, because that's the skill I need to develop, right? To meet people where they are and to get them to come with me from wherever they are. And so when you're that transparent and say, hey, this is who I am, and I also understand that it might not be what's best for you. But if we're willing to think about these goals together, we have more compassion and empathy for each other and how we get there and the process, and being willing to work through the process of getting there.
It's the alignment of the herd. So there's the alignment, there's the personal alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And as we each come into alignment and then have that transparency and that communication, that open communication with each other, it allows us to more fluidly move as a herd.
Yes.
Oh, biomimicry.
Yeah. I know. It's the best.
Right?
Oh my goodness. This is one, it's a joy to have you here. And it's so funny because like listening to your leadership style, and I'm like, yeah, totally opposite from mine, because I'm the one that comes in and grounds everybody and slows everything down a little bit, which doesn't work for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And so, but having that transparency of, okay, do you need more energy from me? Do I have the capacity to give it? So again, us finding that alignment.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't find alignment by hiding from each other.
Facts.
So yeah, I just, in my workshops, when I'm working with leaders, especially, the ones that are making most of the decisions, that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that willingness to step out front, because some people are out there, but they're still hiding themselves. And so just we talk about creating safety and making people feel like it is safe enough to show up, because you're going to have to show up differently if you want different results.
Beautiful conversation. We pulled so many different threads today.
Yeah.
I'd love to, if we could just take a minute to kind of tie them back up and help guide people with our takeaways from our little golden nuggets from this conversation. What do we want to be sure people are taking with them?
I would love for people to take from this conversation that when you are being asked to show up like yourself, you have to be so aware of where your comforts are and what you're willing to do to be different, and what goals you're trying to achieve, and how that difference can help you get there. It happens at the individual level, and it happens when you're in a collective. And so my pathway to do that is horses, being able to build my awareness and the awareness of others. But you might have your own thing. I just recently got into pottery, and I'm like, this is great. So it can be anything. It can be anything that helps you get closer to yourself so that you feel more comfortable getting closer to other people.
I'm going to go try glass blowing, by the way.
Ooh.
That's my new thing. Louise, how about you? What's your takeaway from today?
Brianna, you talked about these spheres, right? Like there's this like alignment with self, alignment with the community, and then alignment with our environment. And I just saw that in our conversation over and over again. Every time we talked about alignment in some way, it was in one of those spaces, right? And it's dynamic, and it's like a breath, right? And we need to be looking at all of those places and all of those spaces as we go. And we keep revisiting, realigning, checking in, right? How are we? How's the herd? Right? How's the environment? Where are we paying attention to all of those things? And I just love that, because it just felt like today was just like how am I breathing into all of those places and all of those spaces? And I just loved that. So thank you for that offering. I'm taking that nugget with
me. Of course. I love that.
Though not implicitly said, what I would love for people to take away is get off your fucking computer, put down your phone, and go get your ass into nature and just witness. Just witness. I don't care if it's an animal, if it's a bug, if it's a tree, if it's the water, if it's the snow or the sun, whatever it is. Just go witness nature, and then see how you can integrate a little bit more nature into yourself.
Yeah. I love that.
It's beautiful. Abriana, where can folks find you and have more of these delicious conversations?
Yeah. So I am the Abriana J on most socials, Instagram and the Facebook and all that. You can find Black in the Saddle at Black in the Saddle on any social media platforms. The website is blkinthesaddle.com. And then Cowgirl Cameron is at that on socials. And then Cowgirl Cameron, CAMRYN.com. And yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, all the things. I am everywhere. I tell people, well, when I was doing brand and web design, I told them that I helped them establish their digital hoofprint. So I am quite easy to find because I have established my own.
Your hoofprints are everywhere.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we will, of course, include all the links to all of those in the show notes.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you, listener. I hope today you create your own hoofprints wherever you are. So thanks for tuning in.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.
And that's all for this week's episode of the Empowered and Embodied Show. We hope today's episode has sparked something within you. Remember, we're all on this journey together. If something did resonate with you today, why not share it with a friend who might need to hear it too? You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review. Your feedback not only helps others find the show, but also helps us understand what's most valuable to you. Until next time, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and remember, we're walking right alongside you. Thanks for being part of our community.